So, Mark, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for agreeing to sit and chat with me for a little bit as part of this session. What we'll do is we're going to go on a little journey of your we're going to trace your journey from right back at the beginning to where you are now, and even look forward come the end of the convo. Yeah, no, thank you for being here. What can you take us back to when did you qualify as a PT first of all?
Um, Back in 2012.
Okay, so you've been a PT, that makes 14 years to this day.
Yeah.
What can you remember what got you on the path towards becoming a PT? What was the moment you were like, okay, that's what I want to do, or at least try?
It was at university actually, doing a completely different degree, non-related. I kind of was pressured into going to university. It was in the middle of A levels, kind of picked a subject that I was vaguely interested in and that, but certainly wasn't that passionate about.
What was it?
It was IT.
Okay.
Um, and I did that for 4 years. And one of the years I did was a placement. I quickly discovered I definitely didn't want an office job. I was always very sporty and really into sports and gym and stuff. But I also liked the idea of helping other people. So soon after finishing university, I decided what I wanted to do. I basically finished university, got a summer job to save up to do my PT qualifications, and I did an intensive course, a full-time intensive course. Did that and then kind of got started really. I first worked for a couple of corporate gyms, and then again, I discovered I didn't like working for other people and decided I should start doing something for myself. And
What was
that's
it? Just on, sorry, Mark, just on that point, what about those first few years of being in that commercial space did you not like that made you realize that you needed to do something more independent?
um, I guess I just saw how things were being done, and I thought I can do that so much better. That's not the best service for the client, or um, that I didn't agree with certain things. But obviously, you have to play ball because you're employed, and you're in a space that you don't own, and so you have to follow their rules and regulations. So that was really it.
And that sounds like that you had, from quite early on in your career, high standards. Like there was a certain standard that you wanted to meet, and even in your first few years, you were like, this isn't it. So where do you think that high level of standard professionalism got into you?
Um, I think probably from my parents, particularly my dad. He's also self-employed, different industry. He's a tradesman, but um, he always was very meticulous with his work and um, did a really good job, and I always admired that. And I guess that's probably come on to me as well. I'm the only child in my family, and so I'm kind of used to getting my own way as well. I don't do well with following things I don't agree with. I've been a bit of a black sheep and did my own thing really. So I wasn't afraid to kind of branch out and have go on my own journey.
So that there was a healthy dose of stubbornness and combined with that high standards thing you mentioned you got from your parents.
Yeah, definitely. It was obviously scary to try and start your own business, and I did it gradually. I didn't go from working from a gym straight into working full time because it doesn't work like that because you don't have any clients. Um, I started off with a part time just admin job, nothing too stressful, just enough to pay my bills. and it gave me enough time to build up my business and work with clients and that. By this point, I obviously didn't have my own studio or anything. I
When
was
did the studio come in the journey?
2018. I got my own studio.
Okay.
So you can see it's quite a few years before I got to that point.
So
From
2018, you
2012,
qualified. Sorry,
2012 qualified, yeah.
few years in gyms, and then it was the transition to the studio, which you got in 2018. Catch us up. So we met in, do you remember when we was it 2023
Uh,
or 24?
24, been with you a couple of years.
Okay. So maybe early 24. And what could let's go to that moment in time. So you had your studio. Do you remember what like where your income was at, where your clients was at, what was the studio like? Can you just take us back to that moment?
I was making around 3 to 4 thousand a month. Um, it was quite inconsistent because I didn't have the systems in place that I do now, where I was just kind of charging clients or for blocks of sessions, which I guess is kind of that's what you're taught early on to do. And so some of those people, although they were set to do a set number of sessions per week, let's say, some of them would drag it out over longer periods, so you wouldn't get paid. So I'd say 3 to 4K is varied. Like I didn't know month to month really what was going to happen. Sometimes it would be on the higher side, sometimes it would be less.
And do you remember why you joined? Like what brought you here? Not the mechanism. Like I think it was a challenge probably that you joined, but
Mm.
like what was the main problem or issue that you were like, I've got to solve this. I need a bit of help. Like what was the trigger for you?
Well, I was kind of coasting because 3 to 4 grand is pretty good, pretty good money, but and you can get comfortable with that, and you think things are pretty good. But then I got to the point where I realized if um, although the money was quite good, the actual work-life balance wasn't great, and I wanted to push the business further. And I didn't want to go down the online route.
Why?
Because why? Well, because I like the face-to-face element with clients. I think there's no better service really. You cannot replicate what you can do in person online. Um, and yeah, that was just my preference. And most kind of business mentorships are pushing for online. There's a lot of American mentors and stuff, which I don't really think they understand the British market very well. And then I don't know how I stumbled upon you guys. I don't know whether it came up on my Facebook or something. I ended up doing one of um, your workshops, your free workshops that I did, um, which when I first joined, I thought, oh, is this going to be one of these kind of presentations where they talk a lot but say nothing, if you know what I mean, and not actually give you anything, kind of like they just talk and talk, and you think, all right, okay, when are you going to give me something? When are you going to give me something? You get to the end, and it's like, oh, that's it. They want you to sign up before you get anything. Um, but that was not at all the case. The whole thing was really good, learned so much. And that was what led me to join you guys. And then yeah, I pretty much within that day of doing that workshop, I signed up with you.
Amazing. So when you got into Velocity, do you remember like what was the first big pivot or thing you did that made a difference? And what was the biggest thing like, okay, cool, now this I've got this or this happened that kind of got you out of that comfort zone?
I guess it's learning how to get leads because I wasn't really doing that. I was just kind of responding to what we call prospects, people that already know they want to train us, so they just contact you directly through your website or however it may be. But obviously, you're leaving a lot on the table with that. So I wasn't getting many leads in, although my retention was very good because I would do a good job with my clients. I wasn't getting new people in, and without a good amount of leads coming in, it makes confidence to make changes in the business and push it forwards harder because you don't want to upset people, you don't want to lose people. Obviously, money is a bit more of an issue when you're not making as much and you've got bigger overheads to pay and things like that. So the first thing we did was concentrating on lead generation, the lead pillar, as you guys call it.
Yeah, the attract pillar on the
Attract,
roadmap.
yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And so let's zoom out for a second. So we're in that moment. It's 2020, late 2020, early 2024. Let's jump forward to today a second, because I know you just had your best ever month. So I just want to create the bridge here.
Okay.
Where's your income at now for the business?
Around 15 to 16K.
I mean, guys, let's give Mark a little bit of respect for that. 2 years to go from an inconsistent 3 to 4 without strict systems, without structure, without any leads, to 15 to 16 and a prospect of a lot more, which we'll obviously get to. So well done for you, Mark. I want to acknowledge that.
Yeah, and to be honest, I never thought I would get to that point when you're starting. I always set kind of a smaller goal, and then you think, oh, I'll be happy when I get to that point. And then when you get to that point, you're thinking, well, I've got this far. You can just keep going. You can do more. There's more to be done. So it's really up to the individual how far they want to take it. I still don't feel like I'm finished. Although the money's good now, I need to now work on reducing my hours in the business, which is what I'm currently working on, transitioning to hybrid and solos, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
Yeah, cool. So thank you for that. And again, well done. Really, really good achievement. Because of course it's not all about the be all and end all. Isn't money. It's the money is just a yardstick. It's just a measurement tool that we use to track progress because it's proportional to impact. So let's come back. So you 3 or 4K came to a Velocity workshop, resonated, signed up, and started to work on some lead gen, which had an effect. Well, you said a moment ago that you never sought out 15, 16K. You would.
No.
Do you know what your goal was then? What would be like a successful or a win for you back then? Do you remember?
I think around 7K, which is just around the VAT threshold for us in the UK.
Yeah.
Because then I thought, well, if I get to 7, then I've got to earn a lot more money to overcome the VAT threshold stuff, which I don't know if people are aware about, but once you get to, I think, 95K of turnover, you have to register for VAT, and then you end up paying 20% on your income, which completely screws you over 90K, which obviously is a bit of a, puts you off a little bit, and you think, well, I'll just stay below this. But I think once you get momentum and you get to a certain point, then it's a lot easier to exponentially make more and overcome that.
Okay, so we've got two versions of Mark. We've got the 3 to 4K Mark, and we've got the Mark I chat to today. I'd love to hear what 2 or 3 systems, if we go a bit tactical for a moment, because you mentioned the attract pillar, but nothing specific. I'd love to know, 2 or 3 things that you feel you wouldn't have been able to get to where you are now without them. Does anything come to mind?
Definitely the lead generation stuff.
And for you, what was that? Was that content or was that something else?
Yeah, I mean, I was on social media, but I wasn't, if you know what I mean. I wasn't really doing much with it.
Yeah.
Um, so posting now in community groups and on my own page regularly was great, and also actually how to build out offers and learning the different campaigns and stuff, of which there's numerous. So I think I did two or three of those because I didn't need loads of new clients, but the idea is to, for the long term, to build regular leads coming through.
Cool. So you did some campaigns and content that strengthened your attract pillar. What
Yeah,
else did you have to do and address for you to make the progress you have?
try and sort out the recurring revenue rather than it being sporadic each month. I completely changed how I um, charge for my services. So, um, not charging for kind of blocks of sessions, but having people on direct debits, um, paying me each month. And then I did also I think it's called the commitment upgrade, which came further down, which is where you then start saying to people, even if you go on holiday and you miss sessions, we're not going to carry those forwards. When you get to the next month, it will just reset. So it's just adding these little bolt-ons gradually that make it more reliable for you.
And I know you've done a handful of price increases as well as you've developed along the way.
Yeah.
How do you remember what it was like, what it felt like for you to implement these contract upgrades to strengthen them, placing them more in your favor and raising prices so that you could reflect the offer reflected your growing experience? What was that like to do?
I hated it. It really not something I enjoy doing, those difficult conversations with people. And I'm glad, obviously, I had you guys to help because you really helped me with crafting the delivery of it and actually putting a plan in place of actually delivering that. So we did it like a step by step rather than like literally blank contacting all my clients and saying, "Oh, by the way, we're going to change this, we're going to change that," all out the blue. It was done step by step. But yeah, it's uncomfortable. I've been uncomfortable a lot, but that's kind of, you're going to be uncomfortable if you're growing things and you're trying to evolve. Um, and that's, as I say, what I got stuck with before I joined you guys. I was just coasting and nothing was really changing until you start doing different things and getting uncomfortable, then nothing really changes.
Amazing. Um, so a couple of really tactical things there. I'd like to invite you to offer maybe some advice because there's obviously a lot of people here with us now, listening in and watching. There's lots of people that are going to watch this back. What advice would you give to someone in Velocity right now who's a bit behind, a few steps behind you on the journey, but is following a similar path? What advice would you give to them, knowing what you know now and what you're doing at the moment with your business?
I would definitely say when I first joined, I was always on the. I made time to do the weekly coaching calls, which I found really useful because although not everything is going to be necessarily relevant to you, the input from other people is really valuable, and I found it encouraging for me. It gave me more confidence because obviously when I was starting out, I was a small fish really, and there were people in the trainings that were much further on than me, and they made me feel encouraged that it was possible. So I would say definitely lean in to the trainings, the Facebook group a lot, really, because it's a good community. Everyone will help each other out. I've contacted individuals from the uh, from Velocity as well, and done some stuff with that individually, and that really helps. So just get as much from it as possible, really, and just also don't be overwhelmed to necessarily feel like you've got to fix everything at once. You guys are always talking about concentrating on the next right thing, and I think that's really valuable because when I first came, I thought I just need to sort out these few things, and then once I realised actually, oh crap, that's not very good. That needs to improve. It's very easy to try and fix everything at once. So I'd highly recommend people just stick with their next right thing. It's a marathon, not a sprint. It's you're not going to do everything straight away.
You mentioned reaching out to some specific people. Is there one person you'd like to shout out and just say like a public thank you to?
Yeah, Phil Donnelly. He's pretty much did a similar journey to me. We've been both PTing for about the same amount of time. I think he's based in Ireland though.
Yeah.
And he has his own studio, and he was doing hybrid and then launching solos as well. Um, so he was further down the line than me. So we had a little chat one on one and about it, and that was really useful. So he was a great help.
Yeah, and just a reference, people watching, there's a hot seat with Phil on the website. If you go to the toolbox, hot seats, there's a half an hour chat I had with him in this kind of structure. Okay, lots of business stuff now. We'll come back to business to round up, and we'll talk about where you are now and where we're going with numbers and stuff. And I think that will enlighten some people. But I want to talk more about the personal change because you and I had an interesting conversation recently in a one-to-one about the rate of growth between the business and Mark.
Mm.
Can you,
Yeah.
before I say any more, can you speak to that? Like, how do you feel the business has grown? Because obviously on the numbers it has, but relative to your own personal journey.
Yeah, I mean, I've exponentially grown. It's like being a snowball effect. You know, at the start, it's hard to get the snowball rolling, but once it's rolling, it can sometimes feel like it's traveling faster than you can keep control of. And I felt that with the business. So that's just an analogy for describing how the business has grown. But I guess my mindset and confidence is still lagging a little bit behind. Um, it's in terms of there's still difficult conversations to be had with people. I don't feel they're necessarily any easier. I'm probably more used to doing it, but it's just I guess imposter syndrome. Um, it doesn't go away. It's always there.
Do you feel
It's
it? Do
about
you feel it
different
now?
things. Sorry.
Do you feel imposter syndrome today?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I kind of thinking, why has David picked me to talk today? You know,
Why do you think that's still there?
um, I don't know. Maybe it's because I've got quite high standards, and
That sounds familiar.
yeah, and I guess my parents have always been quite critical type parents, so it's always affected my confidence and things. So um, yeah, it's difficult to analyze 100%, but um, yeah, I don't know whether other people have the same issue. Some people maybe do a better job at hiding it than others.
Team, just a good opportunity to share your view on the chat. Like, are you still being challenged, working on your imposter syndrome? Just be curious to get people's input on this. And so from a personal point of view, what are you working on now? Like, is there anything that, again, business to one side for a second, what's Mark working on for himself at the moment?
Well, I think to help with that, I'm trying to like you guys do in the weekly calls where you kick off with wins and stuff for the week. I think that's so important to almost journal um, the facts of what's actually going on. And when you actually write down things that have gone well and everything, then you've actually got evidence for how you should be feeling rather than necessarily how you actually feel.
Is that something that you've been doing regularly?
Yeah, I do. I try and keep a little kind of record of milestones and things, and I do reflect back on how I was, a few months ago, 6 months, a year ago, etc. And there's enough evidence there if you look for it. But I think sometimes we don't spend enough time to look at that. We are just focused on what we haven't done yet or problems. I guess it's being grateful, reflecting and being grateful. I guess
And
that's
what
the way I could describe it.
Yeah, that's great. What are you most grateful for? Like now, when you look back at your last couple of years, particularly, what are you most proud or grateful for?
Um, I'm grateful for you guys because for finding you. I wish you guys were around when I was starting off my business, quite frankly. And for anyone that's starting out, it's amazing because you can get to my place a lot sooner. Um, and um, yeah,
Thank you. Appreciate your words.
problem.
Obviously, like the journey is not all sunshine and rainbows, and you've always spoken very frankly about that. As you reflect on the last couple of years, especially, what would you say is one of the hardest moments, a low point or a tough bit that you had to get through?
Um, I think losing clients due to the fact that not everyone will be on board with changes you're making, and you have to come to the realization that at that point they're not the right fit for your business. But it's hard because some of these people you've been training and doing things with for years, you're not obviously supposed to become friends necessarily with your clients, but obviously there is a stronger relationship the longer you've been working with someone, and it's difficult to have those conversations. And sometimes it's a case of you have to stand your ground and say, no, this is the direction I'm going. Um, Kind of either you're going to follow this or not, and that's difficult.
How did you overcome it? Because you've done that a handful of times now.
Um, I get you guys to push me to actually follow through with the stuff I'm going to say I'm going to do. Um, Setting deadlines for things. Um, and I guess just thinking back of previous times when I've had to do it and realizing, oh well, the business hasn't collapsed yet. It's not as bad as it's going to think. I think we catastrophize things, and really the worst case scenario rarely ever happens. It's usually somewhere in between. And as long as you're sensible with how you're implementing things, which obviously anyone here following with you guys will be doing it sensibly, then it all turns all right at the end, really.
Do you still catastrophize today?
Yeah, of course, but I think it's a quieter voice in my head because I've got the evidence now to say, as I say from previous times, it's not been so bad. So, but it doesn't go away completely. The discomfort doesn't go away.
the imposter syndrome and its close brother catastrophization,
Yeah,
Charlie. They just get quieter, but they never go away.
yeah, yeah. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for your honesty there. I appreciate that. I don't that everyone else listening in. I think I wonder if anyone else is a catastrophizer as well. Like, just let us know in the chat if you do that too, because I think it's a very common trait. But I loved what you said about, it's this tug of war between the relationships and the heart side of the relationship with clients and future Mark at that time. Like future Mark sat here with me today with the
Mm.
business that we're speaking of. And it's a trade-off. It's like either I love my clients more than I love the future vision of myself. And you've been able to manage that pretty well over the last couple of years.
Yeah, exactly. I think as you grow, you somewhat have to be a little bit firmer with people, but um, I think you're more confident to be like that because if you've got a good source of leads and that, then it's not necessarily a problem if you lose someone because they can be replaced quite quickly. Um, so it's yeah, as I say, as you grow, it's less of an issue and you can handle it better. Um, but then of course, as you grow, also you're doing bigger changes as well. So I guess it's all within it's all relative.
Stakes get higher.
Stakes get higher, yeah, exactly. But
But I think
I know this is the case for a lot of successful people. A lot of my clients are um, very successful business people, and and that they have multi-million pound companies and that, and they still tell me they have similar issues as me with getting anxious, worry, stress, etc. So um, I don't think it ever goes away. It's just a case of you get better at handling it, and it's almost like you get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Are you comfortable with being uncomfortable now?
Better, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's catch up to present day. Not we won't spend a whole heap of time on the detail, but what are the services that you're delivering right now, and like what are you offering and growing? Can you give us a little overview of where the business and its services are at now?
Yeah, so I do what we call hero and hybrid with some solos. So for those that don't know what that is, rather than doing your typical blocks of sessions and trading time for money, I do a hero intensive, which is basically a 10-week uh, block, which is I see people either 2 or 3 times a week, but it also has a lot of periphery around it, which is stuff that they get with that as well. Um, it's an intensive, as the name suggests, so that is for people that need the most touch points with me and are going to take most of my time. And I charge in at least 1.5 times what I would be charging if I was just doing a regular one-to-one session. That's how much it kind of works out at in terms of the cost.
Can you just give us a ballpark, Mark? So, like, I know it's 2 or 3 sessions a week, but what's the price point roughly, so people can get a
So
flavor?
for people seeing me twice a week, they're paying 1,008.
For £1,000 and three a week.
3 a week is just over 1,500.
Okay, so that's for 2 or 3 times a week for 10 weeks with all the stuff. And then
Yeah.
that ends, and then they move into
Yeah, so that basically prepares people to move into hybrid, which is another tier of the model. Hybrid involves seeing people twice a month. So this is really where you claw back time. So you still have the face-to-face element, but you're no longer doing sessions with people every single week. Um, I see them twice a month. The rest of the time, they're following a plan I've given them. When I initially did hybrid, they were doing solo exercise either in another gym or at home. Um, but now with solos, which is the other kind of bolt on to hybrid, which,
Just on, sorry, Mark, to interrupt. The hybrid offer is that about 200 a month?
yeah,
Okay, cool. And now we're launching solos, right?
yeah, now we're launching solos. So as I have my own studio, I have facility to essentially let out the space to those clients to then train themselves. So it's not a session with me; they're doing it completely on their own. But they don't have to join another gym. They don't have to do it at home. They're using a space that they're familiar with.
And you're charging them money for this.
I charge them extra for that. It's like a bolt on to hybrid. I agree how many times a week they're gonna use the space, and I have some software, like a booking software, that they go in and book their space.
Yeah, so it's a formal relationship, right? There's structure around it. It's not just,
Yeah,
hey, you help yourself. There's a structure. So just I want to bring this. Really appreciate all the sharing. I think the thing I wanted to highlight was that you this is the new or the business you're moving into, which will give you capacity to grow. But you've
yeah,
still got personal training clients, right?
that's it exactly. Yeah,
Yeah. Could you
that's
give us
right.
a rough idea, like how much of the kind of revenue is coming from the legacy old business versus the new stuff at the moment? What's the transitionary point that you're at the moment? Do you know?
Um, I'd have to tell you roughly off the top of my head. I'd say it's about 60-40. So
Cool.
60 is still the old stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I haven't gone ahead and told my people that are on the old system, right, you need to move into this. I've basically been well, up until what I'm going to do, I've just been doing it for new people coming to me, prospects. So they're only offered the new model. I
Yeah. So
don't.
one step at a time, right? And we were very
Yeah,
clear when we were making this transition that we're not just going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. That's your income, that pays the bills, but we're going to build something that can scale for Mark.
exactly. But the idea is when you get to a certain point, then it's easier for me to then uh, kind of almost gently nudge my clients to switch. And obviously, the more demand there is, the more forceful I can be, to the point where they're either going to switch or they're going to leave.
Amazing. Okay. What I've got another one more question I'm going to ask you.
Mhm.
And then if it's all right with you, Mark, I want to just give maybe 5 or 10 minutes for any questions that people have for Mark. Like, feel free to put them in the chat. I think some of them have been answered as we go. And we'll spend a little bit of time on that. Craig, if you want to make any comments, please do. I'm sure you'd love to pitch in. Um, Mark, I just want to ask one more for now, and that's like what's driving you today? Like you've been a PT for a long time and you're still going strong. What drives you today? Like, why do you keep doing this?
Well, I really enjoy helping people with their health. I think as personal trainers, we are at the forefront of someone's health. Um, with the NHS the way it is, really, I'm always telling people you have to do as much as you can to stay healthy and improve your longevity. My whole journey is based on longevity. That's what I push to people. Um, and when people are getting completely life transforming results, and that's not necessarily talking about getting PBs on bench press and things like that. I'm just talking about when you get a 70-year-old lady that um, was using a walking stick and what posture was crap, and then now can walk upright without needing to do something, and she can get up and down off the toilet without needing help, then it's amazing. And it's just yeah, we're invaluable to that, really. And it's just very rewarding when you see people's transformations. And I'm sure people can relate. People think it's just physical, but when the physical changes, people's mental state changes. People completely change. Exercise is the best antidepressant, and it definitely comes across when you do sessions with people. They can be low in mood when they come, and then when they leave, they're on a high, and that's really good. So I get a bit of a buzz out of that.
I love it. Craig, do you want to make a bit of commentary on this?
Yeah, I do. Firstly, thank you, mate. Really appreciate that. It's great to hear a little bit more about your story. And well done, first of all. You know, brilliant work so far, but there's plenty of chapters left. I know, and we've spoken about that. I've noted down a few things from the chat that we weren't able to answer from what we know about you.
Yeah.
One quick question one observation I have of your journey from where you came to where you are now is you've been one of the better clients, and you kind of touched on this, but I want to put this out to everybody because I think this is a challenge for some people. Been one of the better clients at chunking things down. And what I mean by that is not getting anxious or chasing this huge big goal over here and trying to get there yesterday, but just being able to focus on the next right thing and just being able to really sort of fully apply yourself to the current project that actually matters most. And so what that means is every single time you've done a bloody great job of it. And that's just meant you've jumped one stepping stone, which means jumping to the next one is now possible. Yeah. And I think one of the problems that we see sort of globally at Velocity sometimes is people trying to jump to the third or fourth stepping stone or trying to take on too much at once. What would you say to that? Would you agree with that that's something that you've done well?
Yeah, you got to take it step by step. And I think that naturally suits me anyway because I feel more comfortable doing that because I'm not a person that likes change very much. I find that uncomfortable. So doing it step by step is definitely the right way to do it. And you build your confidence up gradually like that. The other thing I'd say is at the start, I was going through a lot of the trainings and that, which are all really useful. But I think it's also a case of making sure that you adapt it to your own business and your own preferences. I modified a lot of things for myself to suit my business, and ask a lot of questions as well. Don't just accept something. If you want to challenge it, challenge it. You guys like getting questions, and there's always workaround. Although the blueprints are up, it doesn't necessarily fit 100%. Some people need individual tweaks and what have you. So definitely leaning into that really helps, and personalizing the journey.
I love that. Yeah. And the funny thing is about taking it step by step is I think a lot of people don't do that because they want to get to the thing fast. But your evidence that in 2 years you can go from 3 to 4K to 15 to 16 by actually slowing down that rush and just doing things really well step by step. You actually get there a lot faster if you do it that way. Cool. Couple of kind of quick fire questions for you that have come into the chat.
Yeah.
The first one from me, just for context, whereabouts in the UK are you based?
I'm in Sussex.
In Sussex, cool. Affluent area, non-affluent area?
It is affluent. Yeah, I think it's probably the third most expensive place in the UK after London and Oxford.
Cool. Okay, nice. So just a bit of context around prices and things like that for you there, guys. A question in the chat, how many clients are you currently working with?
About 30 clients.
30 clients, perfect.
Yeah.
And it was about a 60-40% split from your old thing to hybrid.
Yeah.
Cool. And your hybrid program now is about £200 a month for two sessions of your time per month plus the periphery.
Yeah.
what was your old 4 per month price?
180 pounds.
Cool. So you're charging more now for 2 hours of your contact time than you were for 4 in the old model.
Yeah, exactly. And also it takes half of the time. So
Exactly.
making more money and it doesn't take as long
Perfect.
because I'm working too many hours. That was the other thing I never really mentioned. I was doing like 50 hours a week, 7 days a week.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is why the tiered model is a necessity for growth
Yeah.
past fully booked. The idea is just to go over the headlines of the tiered model: make more money, check; help more people, check; in the same or less time, check. And we're only 40% through that journey so far. So there's a lot more time and money to get with the current model that you've got. Couple of sort of shorter questions. Someone asked what the software booking system was that you were using for solos.
It's called Hallmaster. So that links with the smart locks I've got installed on my studio, which I had to do. So the idea is that when people book in through Hallmaster, it links to the smart lock, which then generates a PIN code so that they can use the PIN code on the smart lock to access my studio.
Perfect.
Obviously, if anyone's got any specific,
Is that it, Mark?
yeah, that's it.
Cool. I'll share the link in the chat if anyone's
Yeah,
wants it.
yeah,
Perfect. Thank you, mate. Wicked.
yeah.
Next one is like, could you briefly explain? So anybody that doesn't know about hybrid coaching, we reduce the amount of physical face-to-face sessions that they have, but we make up for that and more than with a periphery of support. And the idea is, as we've been discussing earlier, your value is not in the sessions. And as you become a more proficient coach and you become more in demand, we can play to that tune a little harder because you've built up more resource over time. And so by having other things that support someone outside of your contact time, you can still create the same, if not better, outcome for people. You just don't need to be with them as much. Could you sort of almost like bullet point style, describe what your periphery looks like in the hybrid coaching program? What is it? What else do they get?
So I do check-ins with them on the weeks I don't see them. So that is through Zoom, and they basically will record me a message, either a video or an audio, on a Friday night, and then I will record something back to them over the weekend so that they're all set for the week ahead.
Cool.
There's a shared Google Sheet that I use. I don't actually use any training apps as of yet. It's just simple on a spreadsheet. And I will, on a Wednesday, I will quickly put comments on their diary entries. So they have contact with me. They can contact me on WhatsApp 24/7, although I have containers where I respond back to them. Because that's the other thing, you can be too reactive. So it's important to keep containers to manage that time. And I've just put together all the stuff that people were constantly asking for over the years that has just been on one little document over there and one document over there, where I wrote something in an email to someone and I've tried to actually package it together in a folder, and that can just go out to people.
Perfect.
Because we've all got the resources. Most of us have got the resources, but we don't record it, and then we end up having to redo everything for each individual person. But once you package it up nicely, then you've got that.
So for anybody thinking about that, that's a training that we have called the Evergreen Advantage. Okay, the Evergreen Advantage. And
Great. Sorry, just to jump in real quick, we've got to kick off a little break so that Kate can kick off on time. So if you could wrap up with Mark in the next minute or so, that'd be really good.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, what I like about that as well is we see a lot of trainers too early in the journey focusing on the detail of their website or what training app they're going to use, or you're using very traditional things, which is exactly what I use to grow my business. And it really isn't that matters to the individual. It's about being able to get them the information in a way that they can absorb it.
Yeah, exactly. No one cares whether it's a fancy app or not. They just want to know that you can help them.
Absolutely right. One quick last question then, and then we'll get you guys on a break. Apologies if we didn't get your question answered. In becoming more postcode famous, what was the biggest difference for your business? What did you notice? Was it more engagement on Facebook group posts, community outreach, that kind of, like, what have you noticed as you've become more and more known in your area as a coach?
Just more people contacting me. I mean, I've had people contacting me that have said, "Oh, I saw that post you did, I don't know, 5 months ago, that never even liked or commented on it. Send me a direct message out of the blue." So, in fact, that you get more people like that than actually the ones that comment necessarily. So yeah, it's taken time. It hasn't happened overnight. But you're just if you're consistent, then then people start remembering you, and because you're showing up a lot. And yeah, don't be discouraged when you don't get lots of likes or comments on a post. People are still taking notice, and you will get stuff out of the blue, so it's worth it.
Yeah, it's about showing up every single day, the same message, repeat, and don't get lost in the metrics of, oh, I didn't get 100 likes.
Yeah.
Love that. Thank you so much, Mark. So much value. Team, just a little thank you in the chat would be very much appreciated for Mark's time. He's given us some time and hopefully something really, really valuable. Mark, would you mind dropping your social media in the chat for other people just to check it out? Can't promise you that Mark's going to start a chat with every one of you because he's a busy guy. But if you're happy to do that, mate, that would be grand.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you very much. All right, Dave.
Yeah, thanks, mate. And Mark, again, a big thank you to you. Lots of love for you in the chat. I appreciate you spending the time today and being honest and forthright with your journey. I know it's going to be not just helpful to these people, but many others in this community as well. And also that you've been such a joy to work with for all the reasons that we've uncovered today. I'm proud of you and I'm excited for what's next. So thank you.
Thanks, David. I appreciate that. And thanks for all your help.
Team.